Hi, everybody. This is Diane Liddington here, and just gonna dive right in, talking a little bit about me. So I teach at Central Bucks West High School. I teach biology and earth and space science. So usually I get predominantly 10th graders in bio, and then a little bit of everybody in earth and space. While at West, I am also the advisor to the STEM Research Club. So my students get to design and execute an experiment, and then create these different products and compete in local science, two different local science fairs. STEM is something that I absolutely love and have a passion for. So I am currently seeking my master's, the ACTE, with a STEM education concentration. And because I really love STEM, I also love sharing that with my boys. This is my husband and my two boys, Sean and Ethan. They're 7 and 3, and they also enjoy STEM-oriented things, going to science museums, zoos, aquariums, being outside, going on hikes, things like that. So we really love that as a family. As far as the teaching aspect of things, how we learn science. I really enjoyed these module readings. Donovan and Bransford do such a good job of really breaking it down to the three big picture principles, looking at the importance of harnessing these preconceptions. Kids come to us with the knowledge that they have, and we have to figure out A, what that is, and B, how do we correct it? Because a lot of times it's not right. The real world and the kid's brain world don't always align properly. So we need to be able to harness that. I also love that they brought up this need for a balance between the facts and the concepts. It's not all big picture. It's not all fact, 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 fact. It's a blend. It's a balance. You have to understand those facts built around a conceptual framework, or it's just memorizing stuff. So it's really important to have that balance. And the importance of metacognition is so important. When we're talking about science and doing science, being metacognitive is really important when it comes to your reasoning, right? So can kids step back and look at their reasoning? Does their reasoning make sense? Does their experimentation, do their trials make sense? Are they getting results based off of what they expected to happen? Are the variables controlled? Is it correlated? Those are important words for kids to understand. The thing that stood out to me as I was reading through was that kids really don't understand how we do science. They think it's so pre-prescribed scientific method. How many times have we heard that, right? But Feynman broke it down to such a beautiful phrasing: observation, reason, and experiment. Because that's what it is. That really illustrates this flow of how we do science, and helping kids see that we are curious, we ask questions, we try to figure things out, and then we set up experiments in order to answer those questions that we have. As far as teaching science and really helping kids understand the barriers, preconceptions in and of themselves, as powerful as they are, they can be such a huge barrier. Some of the things that we know and we think and we walk into the classroom with are so ingrained, and they really dug deep. With all of this, the world that we live in, with all this information and the instant nature of that information, is hard to combat as teachers. Kids think TikTok is truth, right? And it's really hard sometimes to pull out, hey, guys, no, TikTok isn't always truth. And we got to help them see that and understand that we have to be constantly curious and asking questions if that TikTok reel really is truth. The other huge issue here is time. To do truly solid inquiry teaching takes a time commitment, and especially the first time around, you don't really know. Minstrel talked about it when he was explaining some of his experimental setup. I really loved that he gave us his thought process as he was going through it. That he set up the inquiry stations, 10 minutes at each station. Oh, kids were 40 minutes at some of them. It is time consuming because it takes time to think, and kids need to think. And that's something we have to get them to do, but it takes time. In my classroom, how I adhere to this, I'd like to give a glow and a grow. I'd like to share something I think is good and something I'd like to improve on. I think for me, two areas that I'm really are grow or glows for me, excuse me, are creating a learner centered and a community centered classroom. A strength of mine is getting to know the kids as people, as learners, and building that rapport and that relationship so that everyone in that room trusts me, I trust them, we trust each other, and we can create a community of learners where we can really work together. Something that I'd like to goal myself for in the future is to truly integrate more of this inquiry-based teaching. I want to do more of it. It's so beautiful. It's so powerful. I'd like to do more of it go forward. And then when it comes to STEM perspectives, I teach bio. So I would say I live here in figure 8-3, where science pulls in the other letters, right? You teach science, you pull in some tech. I pull in quite a bit of tech. So I'd say, my tech circle is bigger than my E and M circles. But that's kind of how I roll. Ultimately, if I were, go forward, if I sit on some kind of committee at some point where I get to decide curriculum, I would love to work on designing a truly transdisciplinary course where, like a senior capstone, they suggested sustainable society. Oh, I love that idea. And I love that concept of having kids, do all the other letters, right? They do a science, a tech, engineering, math. And then as a senior, they pull it all together, truly transdisciplinary. The kids get to see how important it is and how real world it is. And then also on top of it, it would satisfy Pathway 5 for graduation. So for your kiddos who don't pass the Keystones, it would be a great opportunity as an alternative to satisfy that particular graduation requirement.